Modern economic value has transitioned from the physical matter of the natural world to its underlying digital code. Historically, a forest was valued for its biomass, the amount of timber that could be physically extracted. In the modern bioeconomy, the primary asset is digital sequence information, or DSI, the genetic blueprints and molecular pathways found within native species. Developing nations act as the primary custodians of these biological libraries. However, because they lack the tools to track this data, they are currently subsidizing the multi-billion-dollar Western biotech industry with free genetic intellectual property. Current international treaties, like the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, are ill-equipped to manage this. They were designed to regulate the physical transport of organic samples, leaving them blind to the frictionless digital transfer of molecular data. To secure their sovereign wealth, policy architects must update legal frameworks to match the evolution of scientific tools, moving through what we can define as the 4 eras of biological observation. Outdated legal definitions create a structural vulnerability that permits foreign entities to extract a nation's sovereign wealth without paying royalties. Era 1 is the visual macro level. Beginning in the 18th century, taxonomy relied on human eyesight and morphological traits, like leaf shape or petal color, to categorize the living world. This created a legal system based on static checklists. Laws protected individual organisms based on their physical appearance, often missing the distinct genetic lineages hidden within those populations. Observation advanced in Era 2, the machine microlevel. Environmental tracking moved to the sky, utilizing satellites to automate landscape scans and map forest canopy density. While satellites can measure raw carbon volume, they are restricted to the surface. From orbit, a green canopy can easily mask severe genetic erosion occurring on the forest floor. This is because many plants exist as cryptic species complexes, lineages that look physically identical but are genetically isolated and incapable of interbreeding. Relying on visual metrics enables biomass greenwashing. 2 forest patches looking identical to a satellite can contain entirely different evolutionary histories. This allows replacing complex ecosystems with cloned monocultures. Because the canopy is green, carbon markets fail to detect the loss of biological integrity. Verifying ecological health through satellite imagery alone allows corporate-managed tree plantations to be legally classified as healthy forests. Era 3 introduces the molecular level. High-throughput sequencers now read the actual genetic code embedded in an ecosystem, moving observation past physical form. For legal compliance to be accurate, the standard of measurement must shift to effective population size, or NE. This metric identifies the number of genetically unique individuals capable of passing their traits to the next generation. This compares absolute headcount against genetic health. A large genetically identical population is vulnerable to disease. A smaller population with high variation is far more resilient. Because this variation determines survival, international law must mandate molecular audits as primary verification. When this molecular data is integrated with machine learning, we enter Era 4, AI diagnostic commands. Predictive models can now cross-reference genetic codes with real-time climate inputs. These systems can automate the economic valuation of an ecosystem and issue direct management commands to optimize agricultural or forest health. This enables predictive biosecurity. AI monitoring grids scan live environmental DNA streams at borders, detecting microscopic genetic contamination or engineered lab streams before physical symptoms appear. Shifting from visual checklists to AI algorithms moves the scope of environmental law from physical traits to the genetic code. In this era, the primary asset of a nation is no longer its timber or biomass, but its genetic intellectual property. This has created biopiracy 4.0. Modern resource extraction no longer requires the physical smuggling of biological samples across borders. Instead, the evolutionary traits of a native wild plant are rapidly sequenced locally and immediately converted into digital data. This digital sequence information is then uploaded to open-access global databases, accessible to any laboratory in the world. Foreign AI models analyze that sequence to synthesize new medicines or crop varieties, effectively replicating the plant's value without the physical specimen ever leaving its country of origin. This yields multi-billion-dollar patents for the synthesizing corporation, while zero revenue returns to the country where the genetic sequence originated. Traditional legal frameworks are unable to track these digital transfers, leaving a massive gap in international royalty enforcement. Without an automated system to track and tax this data, developing nations will continue to provide the raw materials for global tech monopolies for free. To enforce genetic sovereignty, nations must implement an autonomous biotariff loop. This begins with a native genomic ledger, a secure blockchain database of wild genetic assets. A sovereign AI genomic chronomic then monitors global patent registries. When the AI detects a match between a commercial patent and a sovereign sequence, it triggers an infringement diagnostics command. This initiates a smart contract taxation protocol, executing a financial levy at the point of commercialization, completely bypassing the need for slow international litigation. Based on market models of the global biotech and pharmaceutical sectors, this framework sets a 1.5% global gross revenue tax on any product derived from sovereign sequence data. Traditional models tax physical resources once upon extraction. This model taxes the underlying information continuously, creating a sustainable revenue stream. Deploying this infrastructure allows a nation to monitor and protect its genetic property with the same precision applied to its physical borders. Tokenization provides the financial mechanism to price and trade these molecular assets. By converting a sequenced plant into an asset-backed security token, a government establishes a digital deed of origin that is recognized on global exchanges. This system forces corporations to move past unverified carbon credits. To achieve true compliance, they must purchase verified biodiversity tokens backed by molecular audit data. Smart contracts within these tokens automate the distribution of revenue, ensuring that funds are deposited directly to their intended targets. The protocol routes 60% of the revenue to a national biodiversity fund for further auditing, while 40% is distributed directly to the indigenous and local communities who serve as the frontline guardians of these ecosystems. To implement this framework globally, mega-diverse nations must form a unified genomic coalition, preventing corporations from bypassing these standards in neighboring regions. Ultimately, the bio-audit standard transforms biodiversity from a conservation cost into a sustainable source of sovereign financial power.